everybody, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to Just Add Ginger and thank you so much for clicking on this video. So, this is my second time sitting down to attempt to film this. The first time I was too overexposed in the face, I looked really washed out and I just waffled for about half an hour, probably about nothing very interesting. So this time I'm going to make it a bit more streamlined if I can and get to the point a lot quicker. So, if you don't know already, if you don't follow me on Twitter or Instagram, then you may not know, but I am currently 15 weeks and 3 days pregnant with my second child. I already have a toddler, a little boy. He is coming up to 2. He'll be 2 in a few months, which in itself is terrifying, let alone the fact that I'm now cooking another child in my tummy. But with his pregnancy, I didn't actually get round to documenting any of it because of various different things that went on. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So this time I wanted to sit down and kind of make a kind of video, I suppose, a few videos of just how everything's been going, how I've been feeling. Not just for you all watching this, but also for me to look back on and just remember this journey. So that is what I am doing today. I am going to be talking about my experiences in the first trimester. It's been a lot different compared to my first pregnancy, which is another reason I wanted to kind of sit down and talk to you all. But like I said, I'm going to try and keep it as streamlined as possible and just include all the details that you might want to know, so that for any of you who are watching this who might be in your first trimester or just found out you're pregnant, you get all the details. So I'll start at the beginning and I'll talk a little bit about how we found out that we were expecting, and then I'll go into how I've been feeling after that. So feel free to skip ahead if you just want to get into that bit, but this is how it all began, so I'm going to start at the very beginning, which I hear is a very good place to start. So, with Ryan, my husband, if you don't know, and I, it was never a question that we wanted more than one child. It's something that we both agree on. He kind of wants 3, I was thinking maybe 2, but it was all about timings for, you know, when we wanted to try for a second baby. For those of you who don't know, I am a disabled person, so I'm a disabled parent, I'm a disabled mum. I've had a few questions, but I have got both arms and hands, they're both here. I just don't show my left hand a lot in videos because I have pretty limited mobility in it, so I do a lot of gesticulating with this hand anyway, and also for personal vanity reasons I like to keep it out of frame, just to avoid kind of any not nice comments that may appear. Just don't want to put myself in that bubble, to be honest. So yes, getting back to the point, I'm a disabled mum, so part of my hesitation, I think, to kind of put a time on when we wanted to try, from my perspective, was I didn't know how it was going to work. At the moment, my little boy is 21 months old. He doesn't ever stop. He is like the Tasmanian devil of energy. I don't know where he gets it from. The only time he ever stops properly is if he's sleeping. So he takes a lot of, I wouldn't say he's high maintenance, but he takes a lot of looking after, in terms of he is in everything all the time. So kind of got a battle of one hand being me versus the 2 hands that are him. So bringing another baby into the equation, it would mean 1 hand versus 4. And don't get me wrong, like, I do not find any part of being a mum that difficult compared to anybody else. I found ways around pretty much everything. There's not a lot of support out there for people like me. So I kind of muddled through in my own way, which I guess a lot of parents in my position do, I don't know. But I found ways around the everyday parenting kind of aspects that work really well for me, and I'm pretty much bossing it, if I do have to say so myself. I smash motherhood, from my perspective, out of the park. I do a really good job. But obviously, for anybody, the thought of having a second child changes things up. So I didn't really know when the best time was to try. I've never really had any experience, obviously, of having more than one child before, so it was all brand new to me. But it got to the autumn time, and I think we both kind of came to an understanding that we were ready. We were in the good place. I'm a stay-at-home mum, so it wouldn't have made a difference anyway, because, you know, I'm here all the time. We don't have to think about, like, career-wise, what we were going to do, etc. And yeah, I think we kind of knew it was going to happen. So we did a little baby dance in the autumn, and I didn't really hold anything to it. When we conceived Eric, it did happen pretty quickly, but obviously it doesn't always happen like that. And yeah, just, you know, wanted to wait it out, the 2 week wait, I think, isn't it, the 2 week window, 2 week wait that you have to do before you can find out if you are pregnant. So I thought, yeah, I'll just wait and see what happens, you know. When I'm due on, I'll take a test. No, that didn't happen. It got to like a few days before my period, well, maybe like a week before, and I just had to know. I was like, I can't wait around anymore. I just need to know. I'm too much of a control freak. Yes or no answer is all I want. Took a few like of the cheapy like tests. Nothing was coming up, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do a few more. Why not, eh? So I remember we were shopping one weekend, and I went into Boots and I picked up like their own brand like tests. I think it tests like you can take it a few days before you're due on your period, which I did. And the first test I did was just nothing was coming up, but then I did the second one like a day or two later, and I honestly thought I was going mad, because I knew I could see a shadow, or what I thought was a shadow. But if I'd given the test to anybody else, nobody would have seen it. And obviously at that point, I didn't know if it was wishful thinking or if I was just dreaming it or imagining it. So I ordered some first response tests, which I'd heard were like the best ones to take. So I waited until everyone was out the house, because I didn't want to get Ryan's hopes up and then it was just nothing. So I waited till everybody was out the house and peed on the stick, and I started to see a line, and I could not believe it. My heart started going. I felt a little bit like shaky. Jumped off the toilet, rang Ryan, who was at work, and I was like, Ryan, I think I'm pregnant, like staring at this like test. And obviously he couldn't say very much on the phone because he was at work. A stupid move on my part, but I sent him a picture, and then he was, you know, messaged back and was like, oh, I'm going to try and leave work as soon as I can to come back to home to you. And yeah, the next morning, I took a test while he was there, so, you know, he could see the line appearing, you know, in real time, so we both knew that it was happening. So that was pretty exciting. So we found out in the autumn, and yeah, everything pretty much went quite smoothly. I didn't have any symptoms. I don't think a lot of women tend to at that stage, because I was only 4 weeks when we found out. But it got to 6 weeks, and for a couple of days I started to feel quite nauseous. In the day I was eating fine, and then it would get to the evening and I'd feel really like bilious and bloated in my actual stomach, not like further down, but in my stomach. I couldn't really eat anything. I didn't want to eat anything. And then one night I just started being sick. And I can't tell. Like, I didn't have morning sickness in my first pregnancy. I don't know if it was morning sickness or if I just had some kind of like freak bug that happened to coincide with, you know, being in the early stages of pregnancy. But I was wiped out for 2 days with it. I was just in bed. I was barely eating anything. It was just awful. So that knocked me for 6. Thank God Eric had the childminder on one day, and then they very kindly took him the other day because I was no help to anybody, and I had to think of myself. So I stayed in bed, at home alone in bed, feeling very sorry for myself. But since then, my appetite has just been all over the place. It took weeks and weeks for it to come back. I have developed so many aversions in that time. Not so much until recently with food. It's more been meals. So Ryan will cook something or suggest something and I'll just say, no, I don't want to eat that. I don't want that. More recently, like in the past week and a bit, I'd say, I've gone off most meat. I can have it if it's hidden in food. I can have it if it's breaded or battered, you know, like chicken nuggets or fish fingers. But I can't, like, the thought of mince, like beef mince, just repulses me. Any kind of fresh meat, or like meat that's like cooked meat that's on a plate, just on its own, just no. I'm trying not to think about steak in that way because Ryan and I love our steak and he's got a sous vide, so I can have it how I used to have it before I got pregnant. It doesn't affect me, so I don't want that to, you know, I don't want to think about steaks. I'm going to stop talking about it now. But that's been the biggest aversion. So the sickness completely just knocked me off kilter in terms of my eating. I think I lost 6 pounds, which is so unlike me. Like, I have to, it just takes me to look at a biscuit and I put on a pound. So that's not been the best. I've not been the best at drinking water either. I just want to drink milk. Chocolate milk in particular has been my biggest craving, like chocolate Izu. If I don't have a chocolate Izu a day, you do not want to be around me. I am not a nice person. If you're coming to see me, make sure there's a shop nearby, or like, you know, bring a chocolate Izu with you so that, you know, you're prepared, because otherwise I will rain down terror on you. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, a craving, but we sort that out. We belong to Costco, so we can, you know, we're sorted, we're covered. But yeah, lost 6 pounds. I'm only now starting to put weight on, and I am weighing myself quite regularly just to make sure that I'm not putting on too much weight, because I know from being pregnant with Eric, I put on a lot of weight. I think I put on 3 stone when I was pregnant with Eric, and before I got pregnant I was still losing weight from being pregnant with Eric. So I'm working on about like 8 pounds, 10 pounds, 8 pounds more than what I was pre all my pregnancies. So I just want to be a bit more conscious of that, and obviously my eating's not great, so that's just something I want to be mindful of, so I don't get too, you know, unhealthy with the unhealthy eating that I want to do at the moment. So I think at the moment I've put on about 4 pounds, which is all right, I think, but yeah, just don't want to go too overboard with it. How else have I been feeling? Tired. Very, very tired. Not now that I'm out the first trimester, it's getting a little bit better, but slap bang in the middle of the first trimester, I was, if I had the option to sleep all day, I would happily do that, and that is not like me at all. I'm an early bird, I'm an early riser usually. I like to just wake up, get out of bed, start the day. Obviously having a little one already, he's like pretty much as soon as he wakes up he's ready to go, so I kind of have to be that way inclined anyway. But all I wanted to do was lay on the sofa. Every day I would will Eric to go down for a long nap so I could have a sleep. I'd have to cancel plans, like if I'd made plans with my friends. I'd have to make up some excuse because I couldn't leave the house. But my health visitor actually came round in between that time, you know, for like just a chat. So I told her about it, because obviously nobody knew at that point. So I was just like, oh, I feel so tired, I feel so bad on Eric because I can't go anywhere, I don't want to, I don't have the energy. And she said, that's absolutely fine, you know, it was winter time, so it was cold, you know, you don't really want to be going out unnecessarily if it's freezing. So I felt a little bit better about that. But still, like, I need to have a nap a day still. And I think that is because I'm running around like a crazy person after a child all the time anyway, but it's gotten a lot better. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, again, it'll get even better before I start getting more into like the second and third trimester, and then I really start to get tired. So that's been really my main symptom, consistent symptom throughout. My boobs are just ridiculous. They are so big. I think I'm gonna have to go and get a bra fitting because they are just huge. And last time I held out as long as I could to do that because I didn't want to keep buying bras unnecessarily. But yeah, they're just massive hooters. I don't normally have a cleavage, but man, do I now. I could give Pamela Anderson a run for her money. They feel that big. Again, I've gained quite a few subscribers since I last shared about my previous pregnancy. So for those of you who don't know, again, after Eric was born, I kind of suffered from a little bit. I never really got diagnosed with what it was, but from my perspective, the best way I can put it without labelling it is just feelings of anxiousness and worry and just not feeling great. To be honest, I got a CBT for it and I'm fine now, but that was something that was in my head when I got pregnant that might come back, just because with being pregnant with Eric, a lot of things happened that I didn't expect to happen. I had quite a rose-tinted view of pregnancy and it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to, and that's kind of what kick-started everything off. So so far I've been fine. I think it's because this time round I've had quite a smooth ride so far. Like everything I've experienced, getting out of breath. Everything I've experienced, I've expected to experience, whereas last time things happened and I just felt completely out of my depth. So that's been nice. I've been a lot calmer. I think hand in hand with that, something that's helped is I've booked in for a few private scans. We had one at 7-8 weeks. I think it was 8 weeks or just nearly 8 weeks. Just a reassurance one, so I felt better. So I knew there was a baby in there and it had a heartbeat and everything looked at that stage okay. Just something to see me through to like the 12-week scan because it's such a long time to wait. And I knew I couldn't do that. So that scan went absolutely fine, which was lovely. And after that we did tell some family about the pregnancy, just like our parents and stuff. So we're booked in for another scan in a few weeks, which is a sexing scan. So we're going to find out if it's a boy or girl, although we're not going to be announcing that to anybody at that point. We're going to keep it to ourselves for a bit. But again, that's helping me feel better, I think, just having that to look forward to. Because again, it's such a long time to wait and I can't do that. I know some people can, which is fine. But me personally, I need to have that reassurance that, you know, things are okay and things are great. Because even with a second pregnancy, I'm not even seeing the midwife as much as I did the first one. So it's all a bit surreal at the moment because I'm not showing properly yet. So I'm just like plodding along. Oh yeah, well, you know, things should be okay, I hope. You know, can't really bond with the baby because it helps to me if I know if it's a boy or a girl so I can start talking to him, her. But yeah, that's coming up in a few weeks and then we're booked in for another one further down the line. And yeah, I'd say if you're feeling a bit anxious or worried, or, you know, just you need a bit of help to see you through from scan to scan if you are on the NHS, then I would say looking into getting a few private ones. We found a really lovely place. It's you know, in a nice location. It's really small and warm and welcoming, and it just feels nice going there. So it's always something to look forward to, which is nice. So yeah, that's pretty much how I've been feeling and what's been going on. Like miscellaneous things. We think we've got some names, we think. Before I got pregnant, I had a list on my phone of names that I really liked. Got pregnant, went off every single name. I didn't like anything. Even my own name I didn't like. But we think we've got a few names that we want to use. But I think we're going to see how it goes, see if anything else stands out to us. But I kind of want more of a say with the name this pregnancy, because with my first pregnancy we already knew what the baby was going to be called when we knew it was a boy. So and Ryan kind of decided, well, suggested the name that we've eventually used pretty early on, so I didn't really get a lot of say, whereas this one I want to, because this could be our last pregnancy. We don't know. I want to see how it goes with 2, and also afterwards have a bit of a life. Sounds really bad, but I do want to find some kind of job, go back into work, you know, that kind of stuff while I've got the chance. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But my point is, if this is our last baby, I want to know that I've had a say in the name, which I don't necessarily like traditional names. There are a few that we like, but I like unique names. I've got what I think is a pretty unique name. I don't know anybody else at my age called Jacqueline, so as much as ball ache it is to spell, I like the fact that it's pretty unique for, you know, me growing up and, you know, being out there and, you know, meeting other people my age. I'm the only Jacqueline I know, so I want that kind of feel for my children. But I like unique names. I like names that you don't hear a lot, that don't rank very highly on like the baby lists, baby name lists. So I think we're going to be keeping the name quiet until he or she is born, because I don't want anybody spoiling it for me, to be honest. And once the baby's born and you tell everyone the name, they can't say anything. So I think that's what we're going to do. But I'm pretty confident we've got a boy and a girl name, because I keep thinking about them and they make me smile. So that's quite exciting. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you feel like I've missed something or you've got any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, because I'm doing all this from memory and the last 15 weeks have been a bit, like I said, of a blur because they've gone so fast. So if you think of anything else you might want to know, pop it in the comments and I'll address the question that you have as best as I can. If you have enjoyed watching this video and you quite like the informal setup that we've got going on, please give this video a big thumbs up so I know to continue on with doing things like this. And if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to follow me on this journey, please hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you here with me. And I'll see you next time.